Hi guys, I wanted to show you real quick how to make sort of a feature bass type little track. I made a short pattern here. I'm going to play it so you can sort of see what I made, and this is basically what I'm going to show you how to make. So I'll start quickly with the beat. My main goal is actually to show you how to make sort of the super saw. But the beat real quick, I just sort of use default presets. You can obviously get better drums. But it sounds like this. When you're doing sort of hi-hats with feature bass and trap and other types of music like this, there's usually sort of these sections where the hi-hats hit really quickly. That's a really common little riff that you can use. I have a snare and a clap hitting basically on every other beat, except they do like a little change. On the third one, the only thing that's really happening here is that it says ta ta ta. And it's just alternating between both, then only the clap, then only the snare. And that's how you get this sort of rhythmic sounding little pattern. Both, clap, snare. And aside from that, not too much is going on. One more thing, important to note for feature bass, since this is, and also like if you do trance or maybe dubstep or other forms of EDM, I have a sidechain going on here, which is going from basically 5, which is the super saw, which is this. This is being sidechained by 1, and 1 is the drum. So you see how it's going with the drum, with the kick drum. The sidechain, all it does is when the kick plays, this gets a lot softer. It gets compressed, basically. And that sort of gives it, it makes it sort of pull back and then go forward, which gives it more rhythm. So if you want, I'll play and I'll show you the difference with and without. So this is with, this without. And now I'm gonna do with the gun. So you can see it sort of adds a little bit more rhythm. You can also just stop playing the note. That's another option, and that will make it a lot sharper for obvious reasons. But this is sort of nice and more continuous. And you'll use it a lot if you ever make sort of trance or potentially dubstep or other forms of EDM. I want to just focus right now on the super saw. I just want to give a quick introduction how to make saws for feature bass and stuff like this. So this is the super saw. It's not only a super saw since I have a square. So this is the saw side of things. And this is the square side of things. I have the square on a lower octave, so it gives it a little more oomph. And together they sound, of course, very full. I do not have any effects here. It's just completely vanilla. I think it sounds good with some reverb, actually. I'm going to add that. Yeah, reverb's good. You can use reverb to give your sounds sort of more air, a little more space. But basically, all it takes to do a super saw, it's super simple. All you need is just a saw, and then you just up the unison, and then, so a saw normally sounds like this. You just add more voices. voices I'm talking about, and you can tune them. And that's all. And basically what this is doing, it's creating 16 clones of this voice, and it's detuning them. It's as if you use the fine-tune knob here on 16 oscillators. And you can play around with rand and phase. So rand will basically limit where the voices can start on this waveform, whereas phase will limit basically where the number one voice starts. Rand determines based on the phase where the other ones can start, because I think they're randomly chosen. Phase shouldn't make any difference in what it sounds like. But yeah, you just use unison, detune. These LFOs, all they do is that they control these knobs. So this knob is just it's as if it's going up and down, up and down, up and down really quickly at 1/8 and 1/8 note patterns. And it just goes up and down sort of in a triangle, which gives it this saw sort of sound. If you were to do more of like a saw, it would sound like this. And you can do something in between maybe. Square, exact same, it's just a square. Detune's very low. So notice the difference in sound between high detune and low detune. This is low detune. Now this is going to be high detune. So of course the sort of lower detune makes it sound sort of more precise, a little sharper, not so much spread out, whereas high detune makes it sound very wide. Yeah, what I just did there, I just made another LFO, LFO2, oscillate the detune. So now you have, instead of high or low, you can have both sort of over time, which gives it a bit of a groove. I think that's cool. This envelope's not actually doing anything, so you can ignore it. But envelopes basically control, it's like an LFO, it controls these knobs, except it controls it at the very beginning. And you can shape this wave how you like. Search up ASDR envelope to see how this works, but basically attack will, if you increase the attack, it hits the key slower. The decay will choose how long it takes for the key to lower in volume after you hit it, once it hits the peak, and then sustain controls how long, what's basically the bottom knob it hits. So if you do sort of a attack, and then you lower the sustain, see, it's not at the max. You can put it at 0, you can put it at some point, or you can keep it sort of at max. But this is not relevant since I'm using LFOs instead to control volume. And that's how you make a SuperSaw. So let's quickly turn this into an init so I can just build the SuperSaw again from scratch to show you. Choose a tune, maybe another shape. This time let's try triangle. Let's actually flip these. Let's have the saw be lower this time, and let's have the triangle be higher, so it's going to be a bit different. And you can sort of you can change the octaves to be how you like. Maybe we'll keep this wide, and then we'll do this to control sort of this detune, and we'll keep this one a little bit more tight. highs aren't too high, and then maybe we can add some reverb. And of course, let's make your sound soft. Your sound a little bit softer, basically. If we wanted to get the other sound, we could do a square again. We could lower that. Or actually, this will be the easier way. We'll make this a square. We'll make this a saw. And there you have it. Super simple. This is how you make SuperSaws for feature bass. Hope that has been helpful. Peace.